Well, good morning all. Thank you for joining us this morning on this session's webinar. My name is Scott Gardner, the National Sales Manager for MSL. Again, thanks for your time, for jumping on. The purpose of these sessions, as we do more and more of them, is to allow you guys to have information of what we're doing as a company. This session today is all around a very hot topic around mobility. What we're doing in the POS arena in terms of mobile solutions. On that note, I'm going to hand the session over to Rowan Gen, who's our solution designer. For any questions at the end of the webinar, please direct them all to your sales manager. And on that note, over to you, Rowan.
Thank you, Scott, and good morning. Thank you for joining the MSL POS Mobility webinar. As Scott introduced, my name is Rowan Gen. I'm the solution designer at MSL. As the solution designer, my role is not actually to design the products, but to understand the requirements of the venues and to put together appropriate solution sets to meet those needs. There's a lot of material to go through this morning, but we'll keep it as brief as possible. I know everyone's time is valuable and you're all in demand, so we'll get straight to the main points. What we'd like to show you this morning is how we've extended the point of sale to work with a range of devices to increase the capabilities of your point of sale systems out to the floor, to the hands of the patrons, or outside the venue itself. So whether that's all-in-one devices, tablets, kiosks, web ordering, or in-seat ordering, we'll go through how we're dealing with or addressing those requirements. So to start off with, the conventional POS installation, as you're well aware, consists of a database, some back-of-house applications, front-of-house POS terminals, which are really the focus of the discussion today, and some peripheral devices like kitchen devices, etc. Now, the front-of-house POS terminals are becoming or are being more widely recognised as a potential transaction bottleneck that may be inconvenient, inefficient, and potentially discouraging sales in some situations. The current trend is definitely moving away from face-to-face transactions in some important areas of the venues and more towards self-service requirements. Patrons are now more than ever comfortable with self-service options. It's become the preferred method of transaction processing with many major organisations. Businesses like them for a number of reasons. It's well understood now that over 30% of customers prefer self-service options. The average sale value is significantly higher through self-service kiosk. The latest data suggests it's consistently 15 to 20% higher per transaction. And in addition, there's the benefits of improved accuracy, less misunderstood orders, and the obvious benefits for staff efficiency. Our goal has been to bring a range of mobility and self-service options to your venue, all through, importantly, a single platform, and also, very importantly, fully integrated in real time with your point of sale. The point of sale mobility solutions we offer retain your point of sale as the single source of truth. So all the data, all the products, nothing needs to be replicated. The mobility options are drawing all of that information direct from your point of sale. The platform has a range of base configurations, which we'll take you through briefly this morning. The different configurations will suit different locations and different requirements, different events, etc. The main configurations we talk about are our stadium or queue busting style implementation, the patron self-service concepts, staff service, bring your own device, and kiosk operations. Just in general though, the products that we are presenting, it's a simple software as a service model, which integrates fully with your point of sale seamlessly. Now, software as a service model presents a light touch browser-based solution which will run on a wide variety of devices. It fully integrates with your POS, so you're leveraging your existing knowledge and your existing infrastructure. It's customizable, so you can brand it and set the workflows to the requirements of your particular location or event. and also bringing on board multiple payment methods, and importantly for membership clubs, the capacity to have member multi-tier pricing. Some of the main points are that there is no dependency on third-party suppliers, which means there's no responsibility gaps. The one supplier is providing the solution from end to end. This also gives you simple scalability without having to engage with multiple operators. Gives you improved customer experience from a number of points of view, but also obvious operational efficiencies. Now, some of the customer experience types of issues that we discover as we're talking to clubs that are implementing this, and some of the research on this has been pretty solid. The 30% figure is coming from the fact that there are a lot of customers that they're not comfortable engaging face-to-face, whether it's because of being misunderstood or having accent issues or just privacy issues. They just want to order what they want to order without somebody having a second opinion on it, or maybe looking down their nose at them for ordering a large or whatever. But the point is that we're giving control of that process fully back into the hands of the customer, and that is definitely the trend for hospitality sales trends at the moment. So to go through the devices, this is the Queue Buster. This is one example of it. This was actually the original iteration of the concept when we first started developing the POS mobility applications. This particular one was designed for a very busy members bar where a large volume of transactions were going through in a very short period of time, and there was a massive bottleneck with staff at the bar having to deliver product and process transactions. So we took the processing transaction away from the bar and had it managed by staff on the floor, so they could work the queue, take and pay for the order, and issue a voucher. So the customer then just approaches the bar with a voucher and exchanges that for the beers or whatever it is. So this really suits very simple menu selections, but it can also be configured to do quite complex and deep menu offerings. So if you do want to walk a queue and take and offer a full menu selection, that is entirely possible. But this all-in-one device definitely does work amazingly well with simple offerings. Patron self-service is the big buzz at the moment, using your own device. So we have a patron self-service mode, which is designed for personalised patron self-ordering and convenience. It supports order and pay in a single transaction. And once again, this is all completely drawing from the point of sale system. So the product, the pricing, everything is from a single source of truth. Nothing has to be replicated. This also is really designed around enhancing the customer experience. So with we talk about membership clubs and social clubs and clubs dealing with events where they want to maintain and enhance that social experience so that customers and patrons can engage and order without having to leave their group or leave their table and go and stand in a queue. They can just place orders as they wish. And it's this flexibility, this capacity to order what I want, when I want, and how I want, that does lead to that very significantly increased order value and transaction per member or per customer. Once again, this has member awareness, so your member pricing will flow through, and the capacity to order and pay by points is also included. Extending on that is the concept of web ordering. So the concept of using a browser based operation to go on a mobile device or from a home-based web application, or basically any device that can deliver a web screen. If you can install Firefox or Chrome on it, we can deliver the mobility applications to it. So this is designed, the web ordering is designed for a range of like browser and smartphone operations. It supports customer pickup and simple delivery, which means that we can, whether it's in-seat ordering, so you can enter a seat number and deliver to a seat, or whether it's a home delivery option. It uses Australia Post Secure Pay as a payment gateway, and you can have payment options built in there, whether they're member charging to member accounts or to pay a full transaction payment. You can also pre-order, so the system supports operational pickup time. So if I'm coming down to the venue for lunch and I want to order my meal now and know that it's going to be, if I'm time poor, I want to make sure I can get in and have it ready to go, then that can be managed by the system too. And once again, this is direct through to your kitchen, to your point of sale system. So all of that logic is handled at the point of sale. So greatly improves operational efficiency and is really focused on the concept of reducing bottlenecks. The kiosk is a major source of interest with a lot of our venues at the moment. We have some really nice kiosk offerings. The important part about the kiosk offerings is you have complete control over the branding, over the appearance, over the workflows, and I'll show you how we configure some of those too. We'll go through a little bit of that as we go along. So it's designed for patron self-ordering and convenience. This is an order and pay in single transaction. So patron comes up, places their order and pays and completes the order. Once again, the McDonald's of the world have very much trained staff to transact with hospitality venues this way. And by a growing proportion of the population, this is the preferred method of operation. But the other important point is this is a great way to eliminate black spots in large venues. So as larger venues have areas that are well removed from the ordering area, and this means that your patrons can process and transact without leaving the section that they're sitting in. Multiple payment options, and once again, as it's connected direct to your one source of truth, it is member pricing aware and can recognise member tiers. We extended the kiosk solution. This is a one-off build we did for one of our venues to extend this concept of the kiosk. This is now in place and operational and is now available for further applications. The basic concept is taking the kiosk, connecting it to the point of sale, connecting it to the membership and gaming system and to a car parking system. And so in this scenario, the member comes in, parks in the car park, and when they leave, they swipe their card at the kiosk. And that validates their parking based on their transaction limits or rules that have been built around that for that particular venue. So if they've spent a certain amount of dollars or earned a certain amount of points over a period of time, then it issues them with a valid parking exit. Very simple, but a very clever way to extend the application. So what we're working with here is the ability to do some further extension of the kiosk concept as required. So what I'm going to show you here is the actual technology behind it. So we've got the venue manager. Once again, it's a complete browser-based application. So all of your control on the system is done centrally from a browser application. So from this, we can select the venue that we're controlling. If we've got multiple venues, we can configure individual devices. And this is our configuration screen. So from this area, we can select the device we want to configure. And once again, this centralizes the whole process. So your kiosks, your website, everything can be configured from here. We've got a range of settings. You can see we can set colors, we can set icons, we can configure the POS settings, we can set staff access rules, some basic web configuration, customer location, so what locations we're dealing with, how the payment is configured, member rules, all very simple, all for some quite simple configuration screens. Okay. So what we'll do is I'll go back and we'll open up some other applications in the system, and we're going to show you how a transaction processes right across the range of applications from the point of sale device or from the member device into the point of sale system. So this is a point of sale screen. This is actually the Swift POS screen. And you can see up here, we've got a button that shows whether there's any orders in queue. Now I'll open up some of the other applications. I've got a kitchen video. So what I've set this up to do is my orders will flow through and hit my printer or kitchen screen, in this case, the kitchen screen. This is the back office application. Simply ticking a box will add a new menu onto the customer's device. It's a very simple, there's a number of tools to to add products and menus on. But once again, it's a very simple process from your point of view, because it is all coming from the one source of truth. And we've got our ordering application sitting in front. So what I'll do is I'll just go back to the point of sale and go into our ordering application. I'm just going to open up my web ordering menu. I'll wait for that to refresh. Now this is just a skeleton framework, so I haven't got any graphics or branding. This shows you that we give you a basic framework which you can configure, and we'll show you the configuration in a minute. So I'm going to go and add a couple of products to this. So we've ordered a carpaccio. I'll go back and put a mains on there. Cajun chicken salad looks good. Go to my checkout, my cart, check that the order is right and place the order. I've got some payment options. I can pay with my credit card, or in this case, house account. So I'm just going to put that on my house account and pay. So that's a completed order now. That's my order confirmation. This is on the cloud, so that'll be processing back via the cloud interface straight through to the local point of sale application. And you can see that order pending has now come up. So the point of sale has recognized that there's an order in the system. Now, I'll point out here that there's a couple of ways to configure this. You can do this so it goes direct to the kitchen without any interference by the point of sale operator, or you can, in this case, I've set this up so the point of sale can control the flow to the kitchen. So the orders are hitting a POS, they're picking up that order, just confirming that that's all good to go, having a look at that's the kitchen's in a good sort of place to receive some orders, and hitting the online order, that'll process that straight through. So I've hit my kitchen video screen. You can see that order has been in the system for 35 seconds and is sitting there ready to be processed. And it's showing also to the kitchen that that's a paid for and completed order. They can bump that off when they've completed, and that's done. So go back to our device and we're ready to complete our next order. So that's the order process from device through to the point of sale to completion. So what I'll show you here now is how we configure in some more detail with this member portal. I'll make some changes. So I'm going to go onto my venue manager application, and I've got my kiosk style application set up on the side. Through this, as we said before, we can go through and we can change all of these images. We'll change that color up the top. I don't have a seat number in here, so I might add a seat number. So we'll pop that banner color down. I'll change it to, that's a particularly awful looking purple. We'll go for that. Scroll down through the rest of my settings. We can see that, once again, like I said, this is browser based, so you can be doing this from anywhere you can log into the system. Go to my web configuration. I'm going to enable the seat number. So just tick that. I'll put some text in there. I'll call it, say, my seat number. There we go. So we've got a couple of changes in there. I'll go down to the bottom and update that, save those changes. Down the bottom, it's confirmed that that is updated and we're good to go. So if I just refresh that, so if someone logs into that screen, they'll see not only has the color changed, I've now got a seat number button. If I've previously put a seat number in, it'll recall that from the cache, but I can change that if I move my seats or, want to refresh that seat location. I've got an on-screen keyboard, which I can use to update that and process that seat number through as required. Very simple. So that's done. So I'll just quickly reverse all that. If we wanted to make another change, I'll go back, take that seat number button off. So I need to go back to my web configurations. There it is. Untick that seat number setting. And I'll go back and take that horrible purple color off too. And change my primary color. So from this screen, we can change the logos on the menus. We can change the banner logos. We can put a nice background image and make the whole thing look very slick. So once again, we update that and refresh that screen, and you'll see the seat number button is gone and we're back to the original blue color. Okay. That's the, I guess that's the general thrust of what we're doing with POS Mobility. If you've got any questions, we'll be coming back to you with some information directly on how to contact us for further info. But listed on the screen are the sales managers, so feel free to contact any of them directly if you've got any questions or any further discussions required. I've tried to keep that down. I've gone a little couple of minutes over time, so I hope that hasn't been inconvenient. But all in all, I'd just like to thank you very much for your time on behalf of Empower MSL.